fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
So just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave.
Come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians.
Governments don't live together, people live together. Governments, you don't always get a fair word or a fair fight. Well, I've come here to give you either one, or get either one from you.
That's totally taken out of context.
Well, not really.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up,
T-minus 1 minute,
live out the true meaning of its creed.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
T-minus 50 seconds.
I am paying for this microphone, Mr.
Every dollar released from taxation
T-minus 40 seconds.
that is spent or invested will help create a new job.
Chivalry is dead, and women killed it.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines.
T-minus 20 seconds.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing ground and in the streets.
10, 9,
we shall fight
8,
in the hills.
7, 6.
We shall never surrender.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Alrighty, well, hello everyone, and welcome to Problem Solve Politics live stream tonight You will notice, I'm sure, I'll go back to studio shot. In studio, we have no Cardin tonight. He is working very hard on a side project of his, so wish him well. I might be able to actually bring him in here in a minute as well. I'm trying to get that worked on. We'll bring him in remotely so we can talk to you guys. But anyway, how you guys doing? Welcome to the stream tonight. And first of all, we're going to talk about probably the biggest news of the day, I guess. I mean, I have to be a little bit honest here. It didn't really, I don't know. I was really confident that they weren't going to let Andrew Yang miss the debate. I don't know. Something told me that it would have looked bad for everyone involved if Andrew Yang didn't make it to the debate. Would have looked bad for the pollsters because it is pretty obvious that Andrew Yang isn't polling at as low. I mean, like, the thing is, like, they will tell you our margin of error is about 4%, which would, if you look at the margin of error, that actually have Andrew Yang probably about where he should be, which is closer to 9-10% than 3-4. But you know what I mean? Like, that's one thing. Oh, by the way, hold on one second. Oh, dang it. I'm actually, this is a funny picture. You guys can't see this. This is a picture from Las Vegas right here. I'm sure some of you guys recognize, probably both gentlemen right here. It's kind of cool. Right here with the backwards hat, that's Ted. And then, I'm so bad with names. I believe it's Matt from Zach and Matt. It's one of the Zach and Matt guys. I'm so bad with names. I get them mixed up. But anyway, that's them right there. And actually, not pictured, just off camera, like right around, like just behind them would have been me. So there we go. That was from the First in the West Center in Las Vegas. Anyway, so without further ado, Andrew Yang joined. He will be one of the 7 candidates on Speak. I will say one thing though. They say here, and sure, it won't be an all-white debate, but it's like, yeah, but like that is a direct criticism of a voter. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it. I just think it's weird. It's like the Democrats. I'm not gonna say New York Times to Democrats, but I see a lot of Democrats basically criticizing Democrat voters, and I'm like, well, kind of your voters criticizing, man. But anyway. Let me see if I can bring Cardin in here. You guys gotta give me 1 second. Anyway, sorry about that. So, Yang fighting game. That's the thing we'll talk about. We'll talk about that. But anyway, Andrew Yang is officially in for the debate. It looked like I said, man, I did not think for 1 second that Andrew Yang, wasn't going to make it to the debate. It did not stand out to me as like something that was probably going to happen. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. I gotta take this card right here. I'm trying to bring him in. See if he can go on for a minute. And oh, by the way, E&J family, $10 super chat. So glad Andrew Yang qualified. Former Trump supporter. He is my man in 2020. What is the best way to convert friends and family to him? In general, I would say the best way to convert friends and family to like anything really, but especially for a candidate, I would say the best way to do it, man, is to just find a way to work it in naturally. I saw someone on Twitter recently say, hey, if you want to Yang someone, don't just walk up and say, have you heard of Andrew Yang? Walk up to him and say, hey, I like your shirt. By the way, it shirt reminds me. But best way, man, is find out the reason why Andrew Yang hits such a big, diverse group of followers is because he hits on a lot of different issues. Friends, family, people you're close to, you know what they're actually, passionate about and care about. And Andrew Yang probably speaks to it. Just kind of offhand bring it up to him. Don't say you should support him. Just say, hey, you always talk about X. Here's the thing, too. People tend to talk about the things they're passionate about. They tend to bring them up. The things that matter to them, they'll bring up. And then just wait for an opening and say, hey, there's actually a guy running for president who wants to, do X or Y, depending on whatever it is, right? Like you could say if they're thinking about opening a small business or something, for example. I think UBI is always interesting for any aspiring entrepreneurs where you could say, exactly, we'll give them $1,000. But even then, there's some people I know, for example, we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of people who didn't know about Andrew Yang until they found out he wanted to legalize online poker. I mean, there's a lot of things people care about that Andrew Yang touches on. I would just, these people, they're your friends, they're your family. You know what they really care about. Wait for that conversation to come up and just say, hey, there actually is someone running for president who wants to do X, Y, or Z. You know what I mean? So that'd be my recommendation, I guess. Oh, because like I said, ultimately, man, these people specifically. It's always person to person. I think the thing with Andrew Yang that works really well. It's actually one of the reasons I was talking with someone about this the other day, and I don't know if you guys have seen on Twitter and online. There's a little bit of a drama around the idea of there's the vote blue no matter who people, and then the people who are we have a gentleman right here, so they're a former Trump supporter out there, a vote blue no matter who voter. I mean, some people I support Andrew Yang in specific, not a party. And some people I support Democrats, specifically Yang. So that's another issue, another kind of, I won't say issue, but it's another part of it, right? So here we go, guys. Let me see actually if I can not bring Cardin in for a second. I just got to get some of the stuff going. But I won't waste too much time on this. I just thought it was cool to mention Andrew Yang did indeed make it. So And it's pretty crazy, guys. That's who's left. Isn't it? It's pretty like, what was that one, there was that one Star Wars movie, the latest Star Wars movie, I think, right? Where at the very end, they're like flying away and they're like, oh wow, we're all that's left. And it's like, yeah, it's like, that's all that's left, man. Because realistically, I would expect, no, I guess a little bit, not quite. Booker's still, I mean, not Booker, well, Booker and Castro are still technically in, but they're probably going to drop out soon. Tulsi's not going to debates anymore, and Bloomberg won't be at debates either. So it is a little bit kind of, no, it's tough, man. It's really tough. All right, guys, now without further ado, I finally got this working. I apologize. The whole time I've been just trying to... Is this... jeez, man. All right. If anyone understands how Zoom works, if they wouldn't mind telling me what I'm doing wrong here, but I cannot get Zoom to show up the way it's supposed to. It's just showing me a blank screen over and over again. So sorry, guys. It looks like I can't bring card in. I cannot get this thing to work. It's like the 5th time I've tried something different. That's why I'm just kind of sitting here fumbling around. I have no idea what's wrong with this. But, that's the internet. However, this is However, guys, there's Mark Percy, $20 super chat. Thank you very much, man. Very much appreciate it. See if I can go through chat, see if anything I missed there. Should there be more polls coming out? I would imagine there should be. It is weird. I will say I'd be, I think it's fair to criticize the DNC for how they set this up. Just why not push the debate? I don't know, man. The larger point I'm trying to say is that a lot of people have cited one of the reasons why it's been very difficult to kind of get all these polls coming out recently. They don't really conduct polls over Thanksgiving weekend. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not really what they do. There's a lot of reasons why. However, it means that we have this date that's pushing up to where you qualify for the debate. That's like basically no one's gonna poll the week ahead of it. It is weird, right? It is weird. And I will take some questions. Like I said, guys, I was trying to get Cardin on remotely, could not for life me figure it out. I apologize. Let's see. So what's going on? Is it? And MSNBC actually, last I checked, hasn't really mentioned it. CNN, I think CNN mentioned it. I think there's a CNN article about it. I don't know where, but there's a article mentioning it somewhere, I believe. I don't know where exactly, but it's got to be in there somewhere, right? I think I saw the headline that Yang didn't qualify. I mean, I will admit well, hold on. If we're going to be critical of the news, by the way, any of you guys know, maybe you know today, but did you know like 2 days ago, or it's weird because time difference, a volcano erupted in like New Zealand, and like over a dozen people I think are suspected dead or missing or injured, and like 8 or 9 of them are Americans even, and the American media just didn't talk about it. I don't know, man. It blew my mind when I read in the news that there's a massive volcano eruption and like that killed. Like, that's terrible. Why is no one talking about this? Sorry, we got like the second half of season 2 of congressional hearings coming up, so we can't talk about massive natural disasters that are like terrible and really kind of like spark conversations. Like, why are they there in the first place? I don't know if you guys know this. It's off topic. I believe criminal investigations actually been launched into the owners of the island. I don't know, man. Just saying, man. Yeah, and well, here is the thing as well about Andrea have more time to speak. Sorry, I'm just reading chat. Not only should Andrea have more time to speak due to a smaller field, in general, the MSNBC debates were particularly bad for him. So the last debate was particularly bad. If you look at the debates that weren't hosted by MSNBC, I believe one was a New York Times co-host. He spoke like 3rd or 4th least, which, to be frank, when I see Andrew Yang's debate performances, he looks like someone who will naturally trend towards the bottom in speaking time. It's just his strategy doesn't seem to be to take the air out of the room. His strategy seems to be a lot more to just answer questions. So because of that, Andrew Yang does speak less. But yeah, I mean, we're looking. If these are the people on the debate stage, I have to imagine you have a lot of speaking time. Tom Steyer, I'm going to talk about Tom Steyer in a minute, but Tom Steyer is a little, like, there's a word, there's a saying, they'll use it in sports a little bit. Well, it's kind of disparaging. They'll say someone's just happy to be there. They're just happy to be here. I get that vibe from Tom Steyer. He's just happy to be there, man. You know what I mean? Like, Tom Steyer's just like, wow, didn't want a debate stage. So I don't think Tom Steyer's going to be sucking the air out of the room. And then we go, there's no Kamala Harris or Tulsi. As much as I like the Kamala Harris Tulsi stuff, once again, it takes up as much fun as I have watching this. Tulsi Gabbard going down the list and then like attacking people and stuff, it's cool, it's fun, but you want to talk about something that's taking away from Yang's talk time, it's Kamala Harris defending herself against Tulsi Gabbard. Like, you know, just being real, that's another reason why Yang tends to trend down. Yang doesn't have any of these deep-seated, like I said, the reason why people don't like Tulsi mainly goes back to what happened during the 2016 election. That's why Tulsi was a rising star in the Democratic Party until she crossed Hillary Clinton. Once she crossed Hillary Clinton and defied her, it basically burned her career down. She's been an enemy of the DNC ever since. So that does take up, that beef and that drama takes up time. And Pete, the only problem though, guys, is also keep this in mind. Articles of impeachment were filed 5 days before the debate's going to be. Even though I know this is an MSNBC and I believe Politico's co-hosting this with, I forgot who, but even with that being the case, they're going to probably waste a lot of time talking impeachment again. I hope not, because it's reaching the point of the impeachment process where it's like, what do the candidates have left to say? It's like, well, the House has moved forward. Like, what is the candidate supposed to say anymore at that point? Like, the parties move forward with impeachment? Like, they will probably still make sure everyone gets to have their soundbite on it, but again, just wasting time. So I don't know. I think when we're looking at this one, the idea of Yang talking more, some possible storylines I see, just becoming the Pete Buttigieg Elizabeth Warren debate. I really think, we had the Tulsi Gabbard Kamala Harris debate back in, was that June or July? I think it was July debate. I think this is going to be the Elizabeth Warren Pete Buttigieg debate where they go back and forth. So that's what I see going on for this one. Potentially, other than that, who knows, man? Who knows? It's always weird when you go to these debates. Biden will talk a lot. Harris will talk a lot. Warren will talk a lot. Sanders will talk a lot. That's for sure. Pete Buttigieg has been under, not attack, but Elizabeth Warren has been very critical of Pete Buttigieg's, working history. I guess that makes sense. His working history. So that could take up a lot of time in this debate. It could take up a lot of time talking about, Pete Warren saying, Pete, what did you do when you worked at this place? And then Pete having to do it. And then, and then what I really don't want to happen, here is I don't want to see this turn into all of a sudden we're basically putting Pete Buttigieg's old company on trial. It's interesting, but I don't think it's for the debate. You know what I mean? I think if you want to put Pete Buttigieg's work history on trial, find another time. Aside from that, though, I think this could be, it's going to be a big moment for Yang. It'll be one of the first times he is, one of the first times he's kind of on stage where there's not going to be as many people. Again, like I said, you look at this list, Klobuchar's going to go for her Hail Mary, but Steyer doesn't say a lot. And I don't know, man. I don't know. The thing about the unofficial Dave Chappelle endorsement, I believe there's a rumor of an unofficial Dave Chappelle endorsement, right? It's somebody said they saw him say it, and he hasn't made it public yet. So it would be very cool if Dave Chappelle comes out and says, "Hey, I am 100% for Andrew Yang." That'd be awesome. Has he yet, though? Well, no, he hasn't. So, once it happens, I think it'll be cool. Right now, it's just a rumor. You know what I mean? Someone said they said it at a show, but I would kind of believe it. I also kind of, at face value, I don't believe it because it is, like I said, just something someone said. But, I don't know, man. The idea that it's not, it's within the realm of possibility, I just don't necessarily think I would say it's something that's happened yet. Just still waiting. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up something really quickly. Here we go. I thought this was really cool today. Getting into the next subject. Because there we go. There's not a whole lot more to say. Andrew Yang did indeed. No, Tom Steyer should have 4 qualifying polls. I'll see if I can pull it up for you in a minute. But Tom Steyer, the only reason why I remember Steyer hitting those polls and going wow, dang. No, I understand somebody was at the show, but I just mean I have not heard Dave Chappelle say it. I have not seen an audio recording of it. Person could have just, I don't know. I'm just saying, man, it happens. Trust me, I believe it, man. I don't know that I disbelieve this person. Just, I'm not going to, until I see it officially out there, I'm going to wait. Just going to wait. Withhold judgment. I think it's cool. I think Dave Chappelle sounds about right that Dave Chappelle would be Yang Gang. Once he comes out, that'll be awesome. Until then, you know what I mean, man? I don't know. I'll just wait until it happens, I guess. I'm just waiting for more kind of waiting for Dave Chappelle to say. Here's the other thing too, right? This is the reason why I say that is this is also something that happens, right? There are people that are famous who have political leanings who like maybe Dave Chappelle in private would say, of course I support Andrew. I'm Yang all the way. But then for just whatever reason, he's like, I don't want that getting out public. I'm not publicly endorsing him for whatever reason, you know? Andrew Yang less than others, but it happens. So people will say, I spoke with somebody and they said they support X, and then that person gets asked publicly and they say, I don't. They walk it back, and then again, I believe it. I'm just waiting for like video or Dave Chappelle himself to say it before I go Dave Chappelle endorses Andrew Yang. But like I said, Cardin will not be here for us. We'll do a short stream talking about some of the stuff. Cardin is working very hard right now. I tried to bring Cardin in remotely, but I was having some issue with the Zoom software, unfortunately. Chappelle, I would say, I don't really know personally, but Dave Chappelle is kind of an interesting place culturally right now because he's kind of on the comeback, but he's also at that point in his career where he's so big and famous he gets to say whatever he wants, which is kind of cool, you know? Like really, what do you, like, is anyone going to, like, cancel Dave Chappelle at this point? You know what I mean? The Chappelle Show is still one of the most legendary things ever. Oh, again, sorry, I'll reiterate if anyone just joined us. Cardin is not here today. He's currently out working, trying to get a video project together. I tried to bring him in earlier remotely. We had some problem with the software. Just doing a short stream going over some stuff I saw over the last few days. So there we go. Did Yang back off the mandatory buyback of AR-AK style rifles? If so, I'm all for backing. Backing of Yang's best hope is appealing to the most GPU disposal. Period. I think Yang has changed some of his gun control policies, but I don't know about the extent of all of them. For example, I know he obviously. I always bring this up. It's something funny, and it kind of shows that. That's what I'm looking for. There's a divide when it comes to talking about firearms. Because I'll say this to you guys in chat and tell me what you think. There was originally a proposition by Andrew Yang where he said he was going to. I tried to pull it up. It's not on his website anymore. He said that the manufacturer of a firearm used in a mass shooting would be held liable legally for the deaths and could be sued. Right? So the manufacturer of a firearm using that was one of the things he's proposing. I think $1 million per victim was what he was what he had said, right? Which we had a Sky Johnson. We had a temporarily 3-month period we couldn't stream. Now we can. However, one thing that happened was people pointed out to him is some of you guys sure aware of this. You know, there's weapons in this country that were manufactured in China. There's weapons in this country that are manufactured by the Soviet Union. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you realistically can't be enforced, so he walked it back. Again, so just saying that I know Andrew Yang has changed some of his gun control policies. However, I'm not exactly sure what they are all right now, and also it's kind of fluid as it seems to be, because he has a lot of stuff in there, like I said, like that one. Sounds a good idea, I guess, on the surface when you get into it. Like, so what? Do we just send some Chinese company a bill and say, hey, one of your Type 95s was used in a shooting in our country. You have to send us $50 million. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where he had to walk that back. So, it's an interesting question. So let's see, is there anything else I want to, one thing I want to get into in a second. I'll get to this question first. I'll put this tweet up on screen. That's really cool. Oh, sorry. I apologize. 1 second. I didn't mean to have my retweet of it. I wanted you guys to have the actual official tweet. This I thought was a really cool moment from Tom Steyer. I will admit it is a little bit funny how now that Tom Steyer isn't the richest person in the race anymore, and Michael Bloomberg can like buy and sell him 5 or 6 different times. Now Tom Steyer seems kind of like quaint and cute. Like, yeah, it's Tom Steyer. You know, like he's rich, but he's not Michael Bloomberg rich. But anyway, I thought it was really cute, really interesting moment. Now, Andrew Yang and Tom Steyer seem to have been kind of forming a little bond over the last little while, which is kind of really funny. It's really, I believe it, right? Like I get it, but it's interesting to see. Just those of you just listening, Andrew Yang tweeted, and of course, you know, best wishes to the Andrew Yang family. It's of course awful to hear. Andrew Yang's grandmother passed away at 94, and Tom Steyer replied and said, "You and your family are in my prayers during this difficult time, Andrew." I just, he didn't open a fund in her name, but still, I just think it's really cool and human. And again, Tom Steyer and Andrew Yang seemed to have a little bit of a relationship they're building, so that's really cool. I wanted to make sure I highlighted that because, I don't know, it's easy to clown on these people. It's the same reason why I don't necessarily like Cory Booker, but I will bring up the fact that he ran into a burning building to save someone. Like, I'm not going to just, like, be like, well, you know, his policies. And it's like, dude, at the end of the day, I will always respect you. Same with John Delaney, man. Great shape. He's ripped. He's rich. Like, I'm not going to take those things away from these people because I don't agree with their policy. Same with Tom Steyer. I don't really get why he's running, other than kind of like vanity or maybe like, can I just buy my way into the debate stage? However, that being said, seems like a decent enough dude. There's a couple of questions I want to get to. someone said, someone said, what's the PSP's crew's thought on how liberal and conservative media covers Andrew Yang? Obviously, I can't necessarily give Cardin's opinion. I might know what he means, but honestly, I couldn't tell you exactly what Cardin would say. Personally, I think like the way it stands out to me is that, like, and you kind of see this both ways. When conservative media is covering Democrat issues, and when not Democrat issues, but you know what I mean, like more left-leaning media is covering more right stuff, there's always the sense of like, we literally can just like for a second the pretense drops, I think, a little bit, and you kind of get like, what would someone who does not have any horse in the race for who's winning the Democratic primary think, right? And you go to like a Fox News, like they legitimately probably don't care who wins the primary. A lot of the reporters, right? I'm sure the RNC has some, but like a lot of the activist journalists on the right don't like actually care who wins the Democratic primary. A lot of them are confident in Trump regardless. So to them, they're just kind of look at it as fun and humor. It's like, hey, look at this Yang guy. He's doing pretty cool stuff. Actually, has some ideas I like. I don't even like Democrats. Like, they can come at it more like that. Well, there are some people who are writing from more of a left-wing bias who definitely care who wins this primary, and they're a little bit more kind of handcuffed in what they can say and what they can't say. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of more my general take on it, is that you'll notice that there's some right-wing commentators that probably feel like that Trump will win no matter what. So because of that, they kind of look at the primary with like bemusement, like, wow, like this Tulsi Gabbard character, she's interesting. Andrew Yang, guys have weird ideas, but I like some of them. Like, it's more of that and less of a, okay, I have to really be careful with how I cover this because I want to get a certain outcome, if that makes sense. And then Charles Dew with this super chat, $5, said Yang should bait and switch last minute, make a big speech off stage calling out the MSM, stand with people not polls, and leave them an empty podium. Along with that logic, man, what would it say? Like, what kind of message would it send? Would it even be a good protest? What if Andrew Yang went up there? Nah, it wouldn't be effective. But still, what if he went up there and just didn't say a word? Like, they ask him, they go, Mr. Yang, what do you think about this? And he just like looks at him. Again, I don't think it'd be good. I'm just trying to think along your lines. What are some, like, can you protest from the stage, I'm wondering. Interesting point, protesting with an empty podium. That is really interesting, man. But could you protest from the stage effectively? I guess not, really, right? Like, Yang can't effectively protest from the stage, so. Huh? And of course, Delaney also sent a tweet to Yang. Great guy, John Delaney. All the people on here hating on John Delaney. It's a great guy. Anyway, I do think it'd be interesting, the idea of Andrew Yang doing kind of like a, sorry, I'm looking for around here, some form of protest from the stage. I do not believe it will be possible for him to do it, but if he could, I definitely think it's kind of the direction he should be headed in, because I don't know if the Tulsi route's the right way of doing it. I'll get to Tulsi in a second. Speaking of Tom Steyer, we were talking about this on Twitter, and there was some disagreement. To me, before I show you guys this video, when I saw this video of Tom Steyer interacting with a little kid, I didn't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it or inappropriate. It just, I'm kind of like, I don't know, you guys met me, I'm kind of like, can be kind of weird and awkward with people in person. I don't know, I just don't say all the time or how to like act. Like, I always like whenever people go to like do the handshake and the high five, I'm always like, I don't know, dude, are we doing the half hug, the full? Anyway, watching the way Tom Steyer interacted with his child reminds me of how I interact with children, and I would never run for office because of stuff like this. And I don't know, maybe I'm being overreacting, but like I said, nothing about this stands out as inappropriate to me. Just very awkward and weird, right? Like, if I were to like get down to a kid's level, I would try to do it so like we could like look face to face, so they're not like, what's going on? You know? But like, this feels like the kind of thing I would just do in the moment because I'm weird and don't know what to do. Like, there's a kid here. Do I like? Do I pet? Like, what do I do? Oh, I guess, you know what I mean? It just stuck out to me as someone who's a little awkward. Again, not inappropriate, not mischievous, not devious. It just stood out as like an awkward, like I said, it reminded me of something I would do in a situation where I'm just kind of like, crap, like, there's a kid here. What do I do? You know? Like, I always laugh. Like, sometimes when Cardin's kids come around, I'm just like, crap. Like, I don't know what to do with kids, you know? I don't have kids. Like, whenever I see like kids come up to me, I'm just like, weird. That being said, Tom Steyer has had kids. I believe Tom Steyer's son is like currently, kind of like doing like campaign management and stuff, but yeah. Again, I'm not trying to like clown on Tom Steyer. It just stuck out to me as like the kind of weird thing I would do, and not the kind of thing that I would expect someone running for president. Because you'll notice, dude, a lot of these people running for president, even people you don't like, they're slick talkers, slick movers. You know, they walk into and do anything but that. Exactly. Yeah, because like the way I was looking at it, it's like kids. I'm not saying this to be mean to kids, but it's kind of like the same thing with like when you come up with like a dog, anything shorter than you. You want to get down to the same level as the kids so they can see your face, and they're not like, "Whoa, what's going?" You know what I mean? They can like, "Oh, okay." But the way you just kind of like it was just I don't know, man. And again, no flame. I actually. But seriously, you know what I mean? Like some people see kids and they're just kind of like, "Ah, crap, kids, get them away from me." And Steyer looked a little bit kind of like the. I guess I don't know. What are my thoughts on molten salt reactors? Also, what about Japan, the U.S., and starting the mining of rare earth materials back up, taking the market from China? To be honest, man, I don't know enough about all of it to give my full stance. I wish I had a cooler answer, but I just really don't. I'm not up to date exactly on what's going on with Japan and the U.S. I mean, I do know a little bit about the fact that exactly. You know what? Somebody just put a great way of putting this in. He tried, and that was more my take on this. Was not like Tom Steyer's a bad guy or Tom Steyer's an inappropriate guy or Tom Steyer's a whatever guy. It was more along the lines of that's weird, man. Like you need to be more comfortable around people if you're gonna be running for president. I've heard that maybe it's bad news, but the weird thing to me is just like I said, I apologize. To me, like I said, my only criticism was just, I don't know. I generally thought it makes the kid feel more comfortable if they could see your face. It's just weird when they can't, right? Like that's how I understand kids working. If they could see your face, they're like, oh, there's a person, but when it's just like some person grabbing them from behind, like what is going on? So, I don't want to take too much time talking about this. It's just, while I thought it was interesting to highlight those couple tweets, because while Tom does seem like a decent enough guy, he also doesn't. What do you think about making a Fortnite supported creator code for the campaign? Interesting. There's probably laws around it is ultimately what I think. There's always a lot of FEC stuff. Like any like way you would normally raise money for things, you can't do it politically. You know, I mean, recently, was it Fred the Felon had to make a pack in order to get his, he had to make the Truckers for Yang pack to get some of the stuff he wanted to get done there, which is smart anyway. It's a better way of raising funds, but it's just, sometimes you have to do that. No, I mean, like I said, there is a part of running for president where you have to, you just gotta be a cool person at some level. You know what I mean? Like, you look at some people like, it's a good example of a candidate. Not even a candidate I don't really like, but when I see him speak, I can see people like him. You know, like I guess Cory Booker's one, but even Cory Booker can be kind of weird. But there's some candidates, you see them. Like, I guess, great example, I'm no fan of Hillary Clinton at all. You know, there's a lot of people mourning. They're not fans of Hillary Clinton either. But I will admit, though, she handles herself the way politicians definitely should be handling themselves. So I think some people do that. What do you think about the Nike swoosh in the front of MLB jerseys? Nike just got a contract for the next 10 years. Also, isn't Modelo time? It'll be Modelo time in a few minutes, man. Once we wrap up, definitely. And I'm okay with it. As long as MLB doesn't stoop to having what's it called, advertisements on their jerseys like NBA players do, I'm fine with it. If they do that though, woo! And then someone brought up something interesting too. I wanted to bring up. About here we go. Do you think the U.S. should take all these protests, especially when in France, serious warnings? Ultimately, no. Personally, I don't. Because I feel like the U.S. is always heeding the warning of what's happening in France and Iran. Especially specifically in Hong Kong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe specifically if we're going to Iran, and then also. Or Iran, I always pronounce it wrong. Or France as well. I think, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, what motivates people, I think France was part of, a pension hike. But when people wake up and their gas prices are $4 or 150%, 200% higher, for whatever reason, man, when oil price, when you go to the pump and it's like $8 a gallon instead of $3, that is when revolution happens in the 21st century for whatever reason. So I think the fact that we are continually making sure that Saudi Arabia and Qatar are at least friendly with us is maybe part of us acknowledging that already. Again, I admit that I'm no insider on this stuff, but I just think that it's one thing that always stands out to me when I read the news. I'm like, oh, it's always like gas prices go up too high. People are like, we're fed up, we're done. And perhaps that's why the United States of America, like I said, we have very good relationships with a lot of these very oil-rich nations. I wonder why. That is. That's largely what I think about that, though. Sorry, I'm trying to bring up that Pete video for you guys, because that Mayor Pete video, it's a couple days old now, and Nah, screw it. I'll play it. They're probably, it's ridiculous, but because High Hopes is playing loosely in the background, they're probably going to make me have to mute this part of the stream when we go back. But this is a video between Pete Buttigieg and, I just want to say, like, the energy on this, the vibes on this, like, Pete Buttigieg, man, is just, it's better than outright denial. There's a little part of it where I almost respect him for just saying, like, you know what, man? He didn't even say it. I almost respect how direct and simple his answer was. I almost really respect how it was direct. But anyway, guys, without further ado, I'm just going to play this for you guys. Tell me what you guys think about this video of Mayor Pete. Good old Mayor Pete. We all love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more time. I'll just come into Pete. Just to sum it up, the individual here, it's like a young man, asked him, I wanted to ask you if you think that taking big money out of politics includes not taking money off of billionaires and closed doors fundraisers. And then once again, so that was the question. Do you think that I wanted to ask you if that taking big money out of politics includes not taking money out of billionaires and closed door fundraisers? What does good old Mayor Pete have to say? One more time.
Taking big money out of politics includes not taking money out of billionaires and closed door fundraisers.
No, that should be. I was kind of half joking, but this should be a slogan. Pete Buttigieg 2020. No, like what an answer, man. What a get out of here with that question answer. Like that is the way you answer a question, but it's almost like, how dare you ask me that? You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? How dare you ask me that question? Now, like I said, man, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Pete Buttigieg right now. He is definitely under assault. He's been always, Pete Buttigieg is getting questioned. I don't want to say assault's right, but Pete is getting questioned a lot about his work history, as well as not allowing media into his closed door fundraisers simultaneously all the time. So, yeah. Oh, Hankstar, $2. Love the show. Good job on consistency of content. Thank you very much, man. I very much appreciate that. I know Carden does well. Like I said, Carden should be back. Hopefully we'll iron out the issues so tomorrow we can do something like this with Carden. He's just not in the studio right now, and I was having some issues with the Zoom software, unfortunately, to bring him in. So next time, though, we'll have him in. That's, I mean, like, you know what, Nathan? Maybe they do have High Hopes playing always, just because they know Panic at the Disco will come out of anywhere and just grab that video and pull it down or claim the funds from it. So maybe they're like, you know what? No one will ever talk about this if High Hopes is playing. By the way, I thought there was a funny tweet. I want to shout this guy out. He made a tweet, made me laugh. So a lot of times, no, I mean, I'll admit I'm that shallow. If you make a tweet that makes me laugh, I'll shout you out, man. See if I can find it. Let's see. Oh, here we go. It's Samuel D. Finkelstein. In relation to the Pete Buttigieg's support of the Black and African American community. Pretty funny comment. Someone said, Pete must be pissed at whoever told him that black people love Panic at the Disco. I mean, like, but my larger point is being Pete Buttigieg is running on top of every other uphill battle he has, with the fact that he doesn't have a lot of time in politics, and when he does, there's not a great history around his police force. It is hilarious to me that on top of that, he's also just going to run the corniest, hokiest campaign ever. It's like, dude, people are like, you are like the deep state guy, and you're going to try to just cover it up by being like all hokey and corny. It's like, dude, what were you doing when, I got a question. What do you think the U.S. military, you think the U.S. military has people that are really smart and capable and speak multiple languages? You think they ever have them do some shady stuff? You think they ever say, this Pete guy, really smart guy, speaks like a bunch of languages, you know, maybe we have some use for him. Maybe he could do some things for us that'll be classified until we're all dead, huh? So it's just the idea that Pete's running the corniest the campaign ever when there's a lot of stuff behind him where it's like, oh, hold on a minute here, man. Like, you're not, you know, he isn't even like, I'm trying to think of an example, but it's like, better way of putting it is this. Does Pete Buttigieg ever, like, hype up his, he does a little bit, but think of the way Pete Buttigieg talks about his military service compared to the way Tulsi Gabbard does. Not saying anything wrong with it, but Pete talks a lot more about it in the sense of someone who's like, you know what, man, don't want to talk about these things anymore. You know what I mean? Where Tulsi seems to come at it more, I'm a proud current member of the military. Where Pete tries to maybe have people not remember so much exactly who Pete Buttigieg was up until he ran for mayor and became who he was. So anyway, I just think it's funny that when you combine that with like the most like hokey, corny campaign of all time, it does create this really weird Pete campaign where it's like, who is supporting this guy at a certain point? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. I just personally thought that was funny. So there was that. And then the other thing I want to talk about today. Here we go. So a lot of you guys probably already saw this. Like I said, we're a day or two behind trying to catch up on some things. But now a little bit of this, I have to admit, as much as I like Tulsi, which by the way, I'm sure people watching this know, I'm a big Tulsi Gabbard fan. I think Tulsi's I'm like a fan of the Tulsi Gabbard brand, if that makes sense. I'm not on board with a lot of her policy always. I kind of like her stance on war, right? But I love the Tulsi Gabbard brand, like the brand of Tulsi is amazing. But the way she, just like here we go. It's a great example. Is though, like for anyone wondering what I mean about the Tulsi Gabbard brand, just look at this image and if I had one eye and it was like behind like a sheet of cheese paper, I'd be like, oh, it's Tulsi Gabbard. Like who she is when you see her. It's kind of like a joke people make about like regime change wars. She says regime change wars so much. It's like a joke. Like, we get it, Tulsi. You don't like them. Anyway, she came out and said that even if she qualifies, she won't participate in the debate. Right now, a little bit, and like I said, as someone who likes Tulsi, there's a little bit of a, like, I'm not mad. I'm just not going to go to the debate if I qualified. Like, there's a little bit of like, it's like, we get it. You're upset. But, at the same time, I also do think oh my God, I should have this tweet pulled up for you guys. I saw a tweet in relation to this article, not particularly the Hill article, but the story, right? And it was very interesting. Somebody said about Tulsi skipping the debate, they said, well, of course, she isn't even a Democrat. And that was interesting. Tulsi Gabbard was the vice chair of the DNC way back in the far distant past of 2015. Like, Tulsi Gabbard isn't a Democrat. I guess, you know what? There was a whole 3 years basically, but 4, but more than 3 years. Like, I just don't know. I thought that was, I thought that was really, really, really interesting. Oh, by the way, shout out Mindful Skeptics podcast. We were on his podcast a while ago, and he'll be on ours when he's in LA. Very cool, man. Shout outs. But yeah, so I'm sorry, getting back to the point. It was interesting though. Interesting to note. For different reasons. Less protests, but for different reasons. Michael Bloomberg is not going to be showing up at any of these debates either. Now, for Michael Bloomberg, like I said, the reasons are different, but we now have multiple candidates who are polling at not 0, right? I mean, Bloomberg, holy cow, Bloomberg already polling at 6%, but Tulsi's, almost qualified for the debate. Tulsi's right there too. We have candidates that are not of 0 consequence just saying outright, the debate, I'm not going to do it. Like, how weird is that? I'm not turning off ad blocker, by the way, Politico. I don't care what you say. But anyway, like, how weird is that we're seeing 2 candidates, again, of some significance? I wouldn't call them front runners, of course. They wouldn't be front runners, but candidates of some... Oh, sorry, and to get specific to Bloomberg, I apologize. Because Michael Bloomberg, as of right now, is not going to be accepting any small donations, he cannot qualify for any debate. Even if he's polling at 57%, he literally cannot qualify for the debates because he has 0 small donors. But my point being is, what does it mean when Michael Bloomberg can just do the math in his head and say, you know what? I don't even have to go to these debates. I'll just run ads. I'll just run ads during them. And it'll basically be the same as him being there, right? So, I don't know, guys. That is really interesting to me. We now have two candidates who are basically just saying, you know what? These debates, I don't think I need them. I think candidates that aren't polling at 0. It's not like John Delaney said, if I qualify, I won't show up. Tulsi Gabbard and Michael Bloomberg polling about 4 to 6%, right? I mean, these are... Tulsi realistically probably should be qualified already. There's just some... I don't want to call it shenanigans, but it is very unfortunate for Tulsi Gabbard and very fortunate for the DNC, which polls are qualifying and which ones aren't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely worked out really good to keep Tulsi out. So that's I don't know what that means as far as the confidence goes. Again, to be 100% transparent, I know people that are saying Tulsi isn't even a Democrat, and Michael Bloomberg was a Republican, 7 years ago? So these aren't necessarily stalwarts of the party skipping the debates. Still, people running skipping debates, I don't think it's a good sign for Democrats. I don't think it's good for the party that people don't feel like they have to actually be at these events to stay in the race. I didn't see somebody else. Did you see that Yang is meeting with Obama in January? Do you think this could affect the race? I think the meeting with Obama in January is interesting. I don't know a whole lot. A couple things that stood out to me. I read an article a little while ago, and the article of New York Times was mentioning how or I think it was actually Washington Post, but they were mentioning how most candidates kind of made a pilgrimage to Obama's office in D.C. to speak with him before they run. Just kind of get his approval and just say, hey, I'm running. One thing that cracks me up, by the way, apparently the one piece of advice Obama had for every single person running for president was don't run unless you absolutely believe you can win. What a bunch of malarkey coming out of these people's mouths. They all looked at him and said, I think I can actually win. Okay, John Delaney. Okay, Sestic. Joe, John, I don't even know. No flame to those people. But idea being, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think people thought I could win. However, in that article, it did note that Tulsi Gabbard, yes, and Andrew Yang did not actually visit Obama. They're one of the few candidates who didn't go out there to visit him. Tulsi might not have visited Obama for different reasons than Yang. However, they also mentioned in the next line that the closer you are to Obama, the less important it is that you pay your respects before you run. That's basically what they said. Like, obviously, if you and Obama know each other well, he's not going to say, well, before you run, you better come to my office or I'll hold that against you because, we know each other. I wonder if that is the stance him and Yang are on. So I wonder if the Yang January meeting with Obama is a little bit of like maybe they had a conversation, right? And Yang said, tell you what, man, if I'm still here, or Obama said, tell you what, if you're still here at this date, let's talk, right? I wonder if it's kind of one of those. Because I've seen that in a lot of industries. Kind of, look, right now, man, you are crazy for attempting this, but I'll tell you what, 6 months from now, you're still in this thing, we'll talk. It feels a little bit like that, right? Feels a little bit like Obama's like, Andrew, I like you, but really, president? And now he's kind of like, you know what, man? We got to meet up. We got to talk more about this. That's what I believe. Potentially. I mean, it's pure speculation, but just based off of some recent articles, there has been recently a few articles of people starting to kind of ramp up wanting to know more about what's actually going on with Obama, because he's been pretty quiet in this race and people just talking behind the scenes. And there's one thing that stood out to me is behind the scenes, it definitely seems like Obama's not really happy with the field, but he doesn't speak particularly about Yang. It could be out of disrespect. It could also be that he maybe isn't particularly unhappy with them. So, if Obama endorsed it, but here's the thing though. Do you know why I think if Obama endorsed Yang, it means Yang wins the primary? Because I honestly don't believe. I think Obama's already made his endorsement, and it's whoever wins the primary. You know what I mean? I just think politically expedient is going to be. For him, it's going to be the best way to do it. It's just, look, man. Like I said, I think essentially the best way, as I said the first time, Barack Obama's made his endorsement already. Whoever's leading the party, that's who he's endorsing. I think that here's the thing. Based on Obama's own words, it looks like he has no problem behind the scenes making sure that the person he's endorsing is the person he wants to endorse. It seems like what he had to say about Bernie Sanders. I'm a Bernie guy, but brutal. Absolutely brutal. What Obama said about Bernie Sanders, I thought. I don't know, man. Getting into Obama with this, like I said, it's just very interesting. It was actually a political article, and here I'll show you what I was talking about right here. I'll bring up this quote. This was a great quote right here, where they said that if Obama thought Sanders actually had a chance, he would speak. Here we go. Here's the quote itself. It's pretty funny, man. So it's right here in this paragraph. There is one, publicly he has been clear that he won't intervene in the primary. He, in this instance, is Barack Obama. Publicly, Barack Obama has been clear that he won't intervene in the primary for or against a candidate unless he believes there was some egregious attack. Can't even imagine with this field how bad it would have to be for him to say something so to a close advisor. Instead, he sees his role as providing guardrails to keep the process from getting too ugly and to unite the party when the nominee is clear. Again, Obama's waiting to come in at the end. Get this. There's one potential exception. Back when Sanders seemed like more of a threat than he does now, ouch, Obama said privately that if Bernie were running away with the nomination, Obama would speak up to stop him. stop him. Wow. Asked about that, a spokesperson for Obama pointed out that Obama recently said he would support and campaign for whoever the Democratic nominee is. Do you realize how, according to Politico, when Politico called and said, is it true Barack Obama would work against Bernie Sanders? They didn't say, no, that is not true. They just said, well, I mean, Obama said he would support whoever wins the nominee. Now, if that means Obama's going to work behind the scenes to make sure Bernie Sanders can't be the nominee, so be it. But hey, whoever the nominee is, he'll be endorsing him. What a crazy thing, man. I mean, this is, and by the way, this is what I want to get into you guys with something, because I have to admit, as a younger guy, I haven't been alive for 50 elections. So I have to kind of go back and rely on people that are older and have, unfortunately, boomers, right? And just read what's going on. But this has been consistent with what I've done. Listen to this, because this is basically what I've been gathering from other places. The post-presidency of Obama is like any other. Many presidents have had to navigate the tricky politics of leaving office when a president from the other party takes over, and plenty have had to grapple with the delicate situation of their vice president seeking a promotion. But Obama has to grapple with both situations simultaneously and under unprecedented conditions. I want to point out to you guys, it's one of those things I just kind of assumed, like, it's probably happened once, right? The opposition party wins and the old VP runs, and it's like, no, that is very much a unique situation. And I think it is kind of what has Barack in a weird spot. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Obama on this. I just thought those were a couple excerpts from this article that really stuck out to me. The fact that Barack Obama does not want Bernie Sanders. Which, do you think if Barack Obama does not want Bernie Sanders, do you think that means he also doesn't want Tulsi? Yeah, I do. Because Tulsi Gabbard, again, just to reiterate, Tulsi Gabbard burned down her political career to stand with Bernie. And then Bernie paid her back by turning around on a lot of the things he stood behind, which is why she believed in him. There's a reason why Tulsi's so mad at all the Democrats. I'll say that. A lot of people try to put us, oh, look at this Tulsi. She's just not a Democrat. Tulsi just hates Democrats. No, Tulsi hates these people for wronging her and being mean to her, which I get. Like, a lot of us look at it as like, that's Senator Bernie Sanders. You know, she looks at it as Senator Bernie Sanders too, but she's also like, he's not only Senator Bernie Sanders, that's the man that I stood beside and said, I will resign from the DNC because of what they're doing to you. And then what? 3-4 days after they actually pull it off and they rip the nomination from him, he goes crawling back. And I think Tulsi was like, that's ridiculous, man. I gave up my spot for you and you just go right back to him. By the way, there is a thing, you know, like do you know how appreciative Hillary Clinton is of what Bernie Sanders did for her? And again, no Bernie fan. Do you know how appreciative Hillary Sanders is? Hillary Clinton is for what Bernie did for her as a surrogate. You know, I mean, remember, Bernie, we clown on Bernie. He had a heart attack. He's an old dude. He's not the hell, you know, he's an older dude. He's getting up there. He flew all around the country campaigning for Hillary Clinton after she stole the nomination. Again, I showed you guys the clip, an article in one of our recent videos. Harry Reid, which, by the way, a god in the state of Nevada, one of the most respected Democrats in the country, especially when he was a Senate the House Minority Leader, he said on the record, everybody knew that Bernie was getting screwed. It wasn't even an open secret. We just knew it was going to happen, which is crazy, right? Well, now this. Hold on a second. I got to get the right version of this article up. So now, just a little while ago, Hillary Clinton went on her, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Her exploratory committee tour. That's what I'm looking for. Every now and then, it's like Hillary Clinton, like, just to go and do a couple, has to just go and do some speaking. She has to do an interview. That recent poll came out saying Hillary would win. I wonder why that got out, right? But this was hilarious to me. This is an article from 2019. Listen to this stuff. Dude, Bernie Sanders literally sacrificed almost everything he stood for to endorse Hillary Clinton because he believed in the party or he didn't want Trump to win or something. Listen to this, dude. He, in this instance, Bernie Sanders. But while Bernie Sanders faces another hurdle, hard feelings that remain to this day after the contentious 2016 Democratic primary, many in the party continue to believe the Vermont senator played a role in contributing to Clinton's defeat in November because of his criticisms of her prior to the general election. She was actively rigging a primary. I mean, Hillary Clinton was actively rigging the primary against Bernie Sanders, and he didn't believe in it. And because of that, they held it against him when he basically said, I'm sorry, Hillary, please take me back into the Democrats. I will fly around the country and campaign for you. Can you pay for my flights? And they point that out. This article I'm reading, by the way, isn't from 2017. It's 2019, February, but 2019, man. These people, the Hillary crew still couldn't get over the fact that Bernie had the... essentially, they could not get over the fact that Bernie had the audacity of running against her. It's ridiculous when I go through this stuff. I'm sorry to bring this up, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But, like, listen to this. Sanders' flights, usually on a Gulfstream plane, cost the Clinton-Kaine campaign at least $100,000 in total, according to Three Familiar. Wow. Sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy. That's a lot of money. But wait. Hold on a second. Let's go back up a paragraph. Those who had worked on his primary made it known that the only logistical way Sanders could adhere to the event schedules requested by the Clinton campaign was by flying private. The Clinton campaign, however, viewed the private jet flights as a needless extravagance and wanted the senator to mostly fly commercial. I'm sure Hillary mostly flew commercial at all of her events. Listen to this. The senator ended up flying private on 3 separate multi-day trips in the last 2 months of the campaign. It's just... Bernie Sanders, and I don't even like Bernie, but Bernie Sanders gave up most of what he believed in. Because remember, Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, Bernie Sanders, I don't know how many of you guys actually know this, because to be frank, it's one of those small things. Why would you know unless you looked? But I didn't know this until today. Bernie Sanders' actual senator account, so the Senator Sanders account, look at what his description says. Now, the reason why I bring this up, I see a lot of burner types even. Nah, burner types are still Bernie or bust. I still see some Bernie voters, though. There's a less of a crossover, but there is still like vote blue no matter who and Bernie voters for whatever reason. Dude, Bernie's proudly the longest serving independent in congressional history. That's just that according to, I mean, people's marketing people say this is a very important part of your Twitter profile is your bio, but yeah, Bernie's an independent, man. Independent Bernie Sanders, but the longest serving independent congressional career in history behind him. To campaign for the person who stabbed him in the back, and 3 years later, they can't get over the fact that Hillary lost still. It's just... I'm sorry that was a big aside, but like, dude, I could not believe what was going on when I was reading this stuff coming out with Tulsi, with Hillary and Bernie. I was just like, is Hillary? Because I couldn't find it. I think it was on a Howard Stern interview where Hillary was like, Bernie Sanders waiting 3 days to endorse me definitely hurt me. It was like, what is this world? I got to pull this article up, man. This was the one I saw where I said, Hillary is absolutely insane. Like, it's... Here we go. I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. Where's the quote? I gotta pull this quote up. Like I said, I think, sorry, this article I pulled up the wrong article. Here we go. This is what I was trying to pull up for you guys. Oh, I apologize. It was more than a month. Here's the exact endorsement. So, asked in a wide-ranging interview on Sirius XM's Howard Stern show if she hated or was upset with Sanders, Clinton replied, no. She's but disappointed, and I hope he doesn't do it again to whoever gets the nomination. I cannot stand Hillary Clinton, man. One of the worst politicians I've ever come across in my entire life. Listen to this. Bernie could have endorsed you quicker, Howard Stern said to Clinton. Oh, he could have. He hurt me. There's no doubt about it. He hurt me. Sanders waited more than a month during the heat of the 2016 White House race to formally endorse Clinton. It was the question of bringing the party together around a progressive agenda, Sanders said of the reason for the delay in supporting his one-time rival in today's show interview shortly after July 2016 endorsement. Hillary Clinton still isn't over this. She still isn't over this. Isn't that? And by the way, I'm going to bring up another article. Again, I maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm ridiculous, maybe I'm just really overthinking this thing, guys. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm a crazy person, right? This article blows me away when I read it. Is the Hill one? This article blows me away every time I read this. So, this article was published July 27th, 2016. Not very long after Bernie Sanders was basically bullied out of the race. Again, here I read it. he was a Senate Minority Leader, ridiculously respected Democratic lawmaker. And this was his quote. Bernie really had a movement out there, and it wasn't right to treat him that way. I knew, everybody knew, that this was not a fair deal. Are you kidding me? You know who didn't know it was? You know who thought it was a fair deal, by the way? People donating money to Bernie Sanders. They thought it was people going to Act Blue and giving the Democratic Party money or helping them raise funds. They thought it was a fair deal. Now, Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid here. The DNC never gave him a fair deal. We knew. We all knew. But do you want to know why no one said anything? Listen to this. Reid said outgoing DNC chairman Debbie Wasserman Schultz wasn't impartial. So they asked Reid about this. And you know what Reid's response to this is? Debbie Wasserman Schultz, always been good to me. Like her just fine. Know she's tried hard, but I thought Bernie deserved someone better. So I'm sorry she had to resign. I mean, just what crap, man. And I'm sorry, I don't know why I wanted to bring up the fact that this Bernie-Hillary thing again, but it's like every 6 months, Hillary has to go and do an interview and remind everybody that Bernie Sanders had the audacity to run against her in an election. And it just drives me crazy, man. I don't know. It sucks seeing anyone get just shafted like that. It's like I hate. But here's the irony of all of this is Bernie, and this is what I wanted to really get to. This is the core of it. Independent Bernie Sanders, he's now become part of the machine he fought so long against, but the machine will never accept him. They'll never let him in. I mean, I kind of joke, but it's real. Whenever you have certain ideologies, there's the people ideologically that how do I describe this best? Some people will say, you know what, Bernie? I respect you for coming over to work with the progressives and the Democrats because that's what it's going to take. But then there's the people who say, you know what, Bernie? Because you gave up your independent kind of ideals and your stance and you joined the Democrats, even though you're one of us now, you got here by sacrificing what you believed in, so we shun you. And I think Bernie's running into that with a lot of these people, these media types who they're keeping him out. Hillary Clinton still goes and does interviews. Oh my God, Bernie Sanders waiting a whole month to endorse me after I stole the primary from him really cost me the election. Oh, Bernie Sanders making us pay for his private flights all around the country to campaign for me to be president. Me, the person who stole the election from him, really hurt me. Wow, I can't believe how selfish he was. But the thing that's crazy, man, the reason why, and I see a super chat. I'm gonna get there 1 second. The reason why I bring all this up, the real reason, I didn't want to bring it up today, but we're gonna bring it up. It's because recent poll came out showing that Democrats have Hillary Clinton as a front runner in a new poll. Now, I don't necessarily believe that this is significant, but stuff doesn't get written for no reason. Articles by Brian Paskus don't just fall out of the sky. I don't know Brian Paskus. But, these articles don't just fall out of the sky. Nobody emails them to him. Or actually, somebody emailed to the Hillary Clinton staff has this thing ran. It's an online Harris poll that randomly had Hillary Clinton in there. Huh. And by the way, she's basically splitting the Biden vote. So yeah, maybe there's a bunch of old people who vote Biden, vote for her. Anyway, dude, this stuff only gets out when you want it to. I mean, this random poll with Hillary Clinton in it, all of a sudden being, you know what I mean? By the way, look at it. It polled 1,800 voters. One of the larger sample sizes, but only 2 days because it was online. Still, man, it just, I could not. The fact that the field still feels this week that they think they can do this is crazy. Anyway, getting back to the super chat, we have super chat here, $10 from Transfiction. It says Bloomberg is running ads on TV right now in Arizona. How do you think it will affect his polling and support considering the massive older snowbird audience from Midwest that live here from November to April? It's a very interesting point. Anecdotally, I was actually just speaking with a not boomer, a little bit yes than a boomer, but like an older gentleman, and I mentioned, oh, for me things are getting crazy. We do a lot of stuff about talking about the election of the Democrats, and he goes, oh, Bloomberg, he's, I kind of like this, but I will admit, dude, that kind of people, that kind of like TV home people is like, they are on board for, like, the ads work on them, man. They go, oh, Bloomberg, I know him. Yeah, he seems good. I like Bloomberg. Now, again, Bloomberg can't win. Dude, somebody just mentioned this. According to Michael Bloomberg, right? According to Michael Bloomberg, Xi Jinping, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but we'll call him the leader, the people's leader of China. He's not a dictator because he's beholden to his constituents. Do dictators have constituents? No, they had subjects. I don't know. I guess, like you said, not a dictator, man. Dude, if he doesn't give his people clean air, they'll revolt or whatever. It was one of the crazy even the interviewer was like, well, they don't have elections, so he's beholden to the people, do you mean like revolution? And he's like, well, people aren't happy, they have to do something about that. And I'm like, dude, this is one of the craziest things. Yeah, no, not only did Judge Judy endorse Bloomberg and Bill Maher, this was the most bizarre. I almost did a video on this, but I just figured at the time who would care. But now we care. Here we go. Article way, way, way back in the far distant past of October. Judge Judy. Oh, look at this. This is a flashback. Where's the actual thing? Now, here we go. This is it. They updated it. Judge Judy, in October, penned an op-ed in the USA Today titled, "America is Fractured, but Michael Bloomberg can help us heal." And I remember reading this just being like, this paragraph, "I realize I'm taking a personal and career risk in making such a statement. I have carefully stayed away from politics for 50 years except to vote. But times have changed in our country, and I believe the moment has come for me to step out from behind the curtain. I want to speak honestly and from the heart, regardless of the consequence." It's like, really, Judge Judy? Michael Bloomberg in 2019. 50 years I stay out of politics. But Michael Bloomberg in this election. And then old Mikey Boy walks in and says, yeah, I'm not going to do any early states. I'm not, like, Iowa's important, but I'm not going to go. Like, New Hampshire's important, I guess, not to me. I'm just going to run a bunch of ads. What do I mean by a bunch of ads? Okay, hold on. I'm not going to run a bunch of ads. I'm going to run all the ads, but, and just what the heck, man? What a weird, like, what a legitimately weird primary this is. Like, literally, how weird does this paragraph sound where we sit today? "I realize Michael Bloomberg said in March that he will not run for president in 2020. I respect his comment, but our political landscape has changed profoundly since he made it. There's ferment on the left and the right. Candidacies are rising and falling, and this has created an opportunity for Bloomberg, a man of the center, to change his... A man of the center! I'll post the link. If any of you guys have not read this thing before, it was one of the most legitimately confusing things I ever read. When Judge Judy, out of nowhere, completely unprompted, just released this big op-ed just raving about how awesome Mike Bloomberg, her good friend Mike Bloomberg, is. And I'm just like, what is going on? It's still one of the funniest things. It's one of the funniest things. Michael Bloomberg, pragmatist. Here's why I believe it's so important. An independent, tough-minded businessman, he represents our best chance to bring America together again and begin the long national process of healing. Unlike those on the far right and the far left who use their bully pulpit to divide us, he's a pragmatist. Man who has shown time and time again that he knows how to get things done and cares more about results than ideology. That's a skill in short supply these days. You know what? That inspired me to, I was talking a little bit about this, but I don't know, man. Like, tell me what you guys think about what she said there and right here. So, do I have the actual video? Do I actually have video on this one? I want to get the video. You guys gotta hear from Mikey Boy's own mouth what he had to say, because I do not want to mischaracterize what Michael Bloomberg's. And again, I want you guys to really take Judge Judy's words to heart. He's a pragmatist. He knows how to get things done, and he cares more about the results than the ideology. He's not going to divide, right? That's what they say about him, right? So tell me how. Oh, here we go. Tell me how pragmatic this sounds. Does this sound like a pragmatist to you guys? To be frank, I mean, with those words in my mind, this does sound like someone who's very pragmatic. Here we go. Hoover, I believe, is the interviewer in the situation. That's Hoover. Bloomberg. China's doing a lot, yes, but they're still building a lot of coal-fired power plants, and they're still burning coal. Hoover interjects. And then Bloomberg, quote, yes, they are. But they're now moving plants away from the cities. The Communist Party wants to stay in power in China, and they listen to the public. When the public says, I can't breathe the air, Xi Jinping's not a dictator. He has to satisfy his constituents or he's not going to survive. Thankfully, the interviewer pressed him and said, he is not a dictator. And he goes, no, he has a constituency to answer to. Interviewer, rightly notes, he doesn't have a vote and he doesn't have democracy. He's not held accountable. Bloomberg tries to, his advisors, and they go, if the check on him just a revolution, Bloomberg, you're not going to have a revolution. No government survives without the will of the majority of its people. And again, just to quote the words of Judge Judy Heinlein, I believe Judy Heinlein, right? He's a pragmatist. He doesn't care about ideology. He cares about results. He knows how to get them done. He knows, look, if I want to get stuff done with China, I can't just be, I got to be pragmatic here. I can't just say, yeah, he's a dictator in China. You know, they got some stuff we have to make sure they take care of. No, he's got to be pragmatic. For business reasons, you don't understand. Getting things done, ideology aside, yeah, so what if the Communist Party of China is, committing some atrocities? Maybe they're harvesting organs of ethnic minorities for no reason. You know what I mean? Being pragmatic here, we got to do deals with them. And look, if the citizens can't breathe, well, then Yi's got to make sure his people can breathe. We're just being pragmatic here. I'm done with that, but that's one of the things that bothers me the most about this Bloomberg thing is that, like, what an awful individual Michael Bloomberg is. And here we go. I mean, I don't know what to say more about, I don't know how I could disagree with Michael Bloomberg's perception of China more. But oh my God, man, it's just what again though. I mean, like I said, I definitely feel like this really speaks to what Judge Judy said. Just pragmatic, man. He's just pragmatic. That's it. He's not. Look, he is not. Michael Bloomberg is not bowing down to a Chinese dictator because he wants to, maybe the Bloomberg company, maybe Bloomberg's business interests are in China, right? But we're not gonna. We'll just imagine he doesn't have that. Michael Bloomberg, he's just saying, look, man, Xi Jinping got his constituents, right? If his people can't breathe the air, he has to go that extreme too. It's not like, if the public feels they're being, censored or controlled, doesn't know how to think or say certain things, they have to deal with that. But if they can't breathe, obviously the constituents. And this was the great telling point right here. When the interviewer says he doesn't have a vote, he doesn't have democracy, he's not held accountable by voters. Bloomberg tries to interject and says, well, if his advisors gave him, because that's what Bloomberg feels. In Michael Bloomberg's world, that's how things should be, from what I've gathered. He seems like one of those rich people. People exist all across the place, right and left. It's not a political thing. There's people that just feel like, because I'll admit, Bloomberg on some levels, he's exceptional as a human being. He's not very many people are worth $54 billion. Whatever breaks he's had go his way, it can't be that many, man. There's a lot of lucky people out there. They're not all worth $54 billion. But they internalize that too much and go, I am such a unique and special individual that I probably should be in charge of other people live their lives because I could help them. That's why he bans soda. It's like, ban soda, why? It's not healthy. Okay, but nobody says it is. It's like there's no like disinfo campaign of like soda's actually healthy for you. Like people just drink it anyway. And you gotta get rid of it. Recently he basically summed it up better than he summed up his ideology better than I ever could. He said, look, it's good that we tax poor people because they don't spend their money correctly, so we have to spend it for them. Interesting idea, right? Kind of interesting concept. Sorry about that. Ran over my headphones. Interesting idea, right? He's basically saying, no, look, we're going to have a bunch of social programs, and then we'll just tax the poor people basically very heavily. We'll tax everyone, especially them. And then because we do that, then we basically can spend their money for them. That's kind of how he phrases it. Which, hey, if you legitimately believe you are such an exceptional human being, you should be telling other people how to live their life. Okay. However, I can also see why Michael Bloomberg would respect something like a communist dictator, where you look at him and go, wow, look at that guy. He's doing it. He's the one telling his people how to live. I'll put it this way. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, chat. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think it was Mao Zedong. I believe it was a East Asian communist dictator, like 30, 40 years ago, quit smoking. Maybe not Mao, but I believe there was a East Asian communist dictator who quit smoking cigarettes, and as a result, he banned cigarettes in the country. Michael Bloomberg probably oh my God, his eyes probably twinkled when he heard that story. He banned cigarettes because he stopped smoking them? You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of individual I just believe Michael Bloomberg to be. And again, I don't even want to be disrespectful to the guy, because I have to admit, dude, being worth $54 billion probably really skews the way you look at the world. You know what I mean? It would have to. You would have to be a weird person. I can't imagine like a relatable billionaire. Tom Steyer, we even talking about Steyer. Like, if you're a billionaire, dude, you're living in a different world, and you got there from a different world. So I don't know, man. It just was a very, very, very weird thing going on, I think, with well, I'm sure, like, as far as like Yang and his relation to China, Yang will definitely be harder on China than Michael Bloomberg. Holy cow, right? But for the most part, I don't think Yang is China influence or China relationship with anything to do with the fact that Yang's Asian. It has nothing to do with it. It's more just going to come from the sense of how he, I think the way Yang deals with China is going to be a lot closer to the way that, in line with just how Yang views America's stance on the global stage. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, if you believe in American global supremacy, then you probably feel like China, like, we got to get this China stuff done. But if you believe as more of a global community, you'll probably be willing to work more with China as well as over them and against them. I think that's more, like, I think it has nothing to do with the fact that he's Asian. There's nothing to do with that. I think it comes down more to the fact of, where do you view America's stance relative to China's, and how much is China encroaching, or is it kind of give and take? I don't know. That's my personal stance on that one. Well, dude, Michael Bloomberg is one of the worst candidates. There's a reason why Michael Bloomberg isn't going on debates. You know what I mean? Imagine Michael Bloomberg is on the debate stage. So, Michael Bloomberg, it says here, you do not believe the Chinese communist dictator is indeed a dictator. Well, you know, if his people can't breathe the air, like, what kind of crap? That is the funniest crap answer I've ever heard to, like, why dictators aren't that bad. Like, well, if their people can't breathe the air, they have to give them clean air. Jesus, man. Jesus. If the whole country's on fire, he's got to put it out. I guess so, man. But, like, that's not an argument for dictators. That's why I always say, man, give me a king over a dictator any day. You know what I mean? A king wears a crown. You can take it off him. You know what I mean? Dictators are different. They're weirder. I don't like dictators. I mean, like I said, we're done talking Bloomberg. Honestly, I went over a little bit than I went longer than I intended to go today, guys. So I'm going to be wrapping down over the next probably few minutes here. Any last questions you guys want to ask? Again, hopefully I'll have Cardin on tomorrow or the next day, just remotely, but we'll be able to get him on there as well. Why are so many wealthy people super evil? I mean, people in this chat can get $1 billion and not become a PH. What's the word I'm looking for? I think it takes a certain kind of person to, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. How the best way to put this? It takes a certain type of individual, like I said, to make to make all those billions. And I think those certain kind of individuals have some, I don't want to say quirks, but I would say it lends, certain type of people are probably better put in position to be that wealthy. You know what I mean? You have to kind of believe, again, sorry guys, Cardin is, and I'm going to be at the LA debate. Won't be inside, but we'll be at the debate center. Cardin's not here today. He's working on another project right now. I'm trying to have him in remotely for the next one. Well, I mean, it's, like I said, it's kind of like when you look at, like, I always say with professional athletes, you kind of have to be a crazy person to believe. Oh yes, I actually think, we'll be doing something with, basically the week of the debate. There's going to be a lot of people coming out to LA. We'll be doing a few events. My larger point is, in order to reach the absolute pinnacle, you have to believe that you are actually at that level and something. And the average human being doesn't, because most of us are either self-conscious or modest or some in between. You know what I mean? But some people are like Michael Bloomberg. Some people are like Kobe Bryant and have the audacity to say, no, I should be the best ever. It's crazy. No one believes that. So, but yeah, exactly. And there's always been a thing with Bloomberg and, Bloomberg, just like I said, Bloomberg seems to be somebody who likes to have control over others. That just seems, because he likes to do weird, like I said, reading into his comments. Am I a big Star Wars fan? It's kind of a complicated question. I guess like here's the do I follow and keep up with all the new stuff going on in Star Wars? No. Am I a big fan of Star Wars? Yes. I guess that's a better way of putting it. Like, I've probably played like 6 or 7 Star Wars video games, love the prequel films, a lot of other Star Wars stuff, but at the same time, I've not seen the new films very much at all. You're from Australia? I'm really hoping Yang wins. I'm hoping for the sake of humanity. Yes. Very cool thing. I would say Yang has definitely brought in more people from across state or across national lines than I've seen other candidates. I saw something similar behind Bernie and Trump in 2016. People from other parts of the world. Oh, hey, Brittany. Hey, it's Brittany. Hey, Brittany, everyone. No, you know what? You know what Yang needs to bring? People keep saying this, but it's real, man. If the Yang gang. Or what is it? Is it Lacey and Tyrene, I believe the name is? If they brought Vuvuzelas, man, that would be it, man. Oh, Alyssa Milano just canceled the Evelyn. Well, hold on. Did Alyssa Milano cancel it? Was it like I don't know. I don't know who canceled it, but if the event did get canceled, that does suck. I mean, like I said, when it comes to Star Wars, I'm really, really, really a fan of the George Lucas vision because it's crazy and ridiculous. I think that's why I personally like the Star Wars prequels. I actually like the prequels more than the original films, definitely more than the new film. I thought the prequels really, 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 really felt into a nice niche of the absolute insane political ideas of George Lucas and the complete bizarre sterileness of CG that like really took over early 2000s, and it just created an interesting thing. I thought that was really cool. And someone said, "Oh no, I played the new Star Wars game. It's a lot of fun. It reminds me more of a combination. Like honestly, when I'm playing the new Star Wars game, I feel more like I'm playing a Tomb Raider game than anything else. And then the combat definitely is super Dark Souls inspired. As far as like your health recharges are fixed, and you have to make it to new checkpoints to recharge them. You upgrade at these points. You spawn at these points. That's all Dark Souls. But the rest of the game is Tomb Raider. Bunch of where do I go? I got to figure out a puzzle. I'm doing platforming. So really interesting." I didn't like Jar Jar. I really liked. I think of the entire Star Wars saga. All 12 films now or whatever, 11 films. Palpatine, Sheev Palpatine, right? The most fascinating character of the entire series. Basically, for those of you guys who haven't seen it, I highly encourage it. I understand it's a bit controversial, but I'm just telling you. Alex Jones perhaps has the best breakdown of the prequels politically that I've ever seen. Because if you don't actually think about the politics of the prequels, they don't make as much sense. But there's stuff going on there. And like I said, you don't got to love the guy, but it is hilarious when you look at what happened in those films politically. It was really, really an interesting thing. So I don't know. That's just one of the things about the Star Wars prequels that always stood out to me was how ridiculous the concept of the prequels were, and then how awesome the Chancellor Palpatine character was. So Cody, do you share Andrew's dark vision that an economic tsunami is going to hit our country as far as the number of jobs being automated away? Oh, interesting way of kind of phrasing that question. Do I share Andrew's dark vision that an economic tsunami is going to hit our country as far as the number? Yes and no. Oh my God! If Dad isn't mad, I'll look more into that. If that's true, very interesting, because I've kind of been following some of that. It's very interesting. I'll look into it though, but who knows, right? It also could be, who knows? I know Cardin's actually is working on another video project. Cardin's a big video project guy. He's got, like I said, Cardin's got stuff he actually does in his spare time. He's not like me, where I just do this and nothing else. So he's got a life, and he's actually enjoying his life. So there we go. Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, set up a card in Steam account. Yeah, $2 super. Not yet, man, but I will. Trust me. I'm going to make Card play me in, especially because I didn't realize, like I said, I'm a bit ignorant when it comes to most things. I didn't realize Unity was, the Unity platform lent to cross-platform very well. Because I know a lot of, some engines don't really work as far as Mac and PC, but I guess because on Unity it's going to be a Mac, so we'll be able to play. Let's see. Okay. Well, there's one thing. There's something else I wanted to get to up here. I forgot. Oh, sorry. As far as Andrew's vision, what I think is going to happen is that there's going to be a little bit of both. While there is going to be part of... oh, no. Twitch streams are not over. Waiting for more official thing. Basically, Cardin's got stuff planned over the next few weeks. I have some planned over the next few weeks. Starting on the first of the year, we're going to come out with a more with an actual stream schedule for you guys, where we'll be on which days. We will still be using Twitch. There's certain streams that are going to work better for us on Twitch than YouTube. Different platforms kind of allow different things. So we want to set up a more regular voicemail call-in on our Twitch channel. So we will on the first be able to give you guys a better idea. Yeah, I feel so bad. Finish up the question. What I think is going to happen is there will be a lot of jobs lost to automation, but I do believe the other end of that coin is that there's going to be a lot of wealth and jobs created through it, which I think is kind of like Andrew Yang's vision, where he's basically saying as long as we make sure that upswing of wealth is properly going to kind of smooth out the jobs we're losing, if we are cognizant of both things happening at once, we can kind of guide them better, if that makes sense. Do you guys get that? Like I think, yes, there will be jobs that will be irrelevant due to automation, but it will also create wealth and create jobs that weren't there before. So as long as we recognize these do affect each other and the government kind of guides in, which I think I'm sure a lot of you guys know this. I am basically a capitalist extremist. I'm a huge time capitalist, but I do believe that's when the government should come in and start not guiding the market, but that's when the government needs to say, we have to manage, like, it's the government's job to make sure that the winners aren't winning too big and losers aren't losing too big. You know what I mean? They're almost kind of like a casino, right? Like a casino knows if everyone walks in the door with $5,000 and walks out with zero, they just stop coming. It's not good for business. Yes, we win always, but it's not good. You got to make people feel like they win. You got to make people feel like they're involved. You got to make people feel like they can come back and play at your casino. And I think that's how the government kind of supposed to engage with the market. They have to make sure that people feel like they can win, so they're playing. If everyone feels like a loser and just walks in and walks out with no money, then the economy starts to really take a big hit. So I think that's when the government does need to step in. As someone who's a pretty big capitalist, I think that's when the government step in and kind of go like, look, too many losers are losing too big. We got to correct this. You know? That's just personally what I think about that. Someone said, I know I'm late, but how much time do you think Yang will have in the debate, or airtime we'll have in the debate? We chatted about it a little bit. Like I said, I think there's a couple scenarios I could see in the debate. I think if the debate comes into a let's put Pete Buttigieg on trial debate, right? Everyone attacks Pete. He won't speak a lot. I think if impeachment takes too big of a center stage, he won't get a lot of speaking time. But I do think if nothing kind of hijacks the debate and they stay a little more straight with it, he should speak more. Again, his debate style, he will always trend towards the bottom in speak time. He will. It's just his style of debate. He doesn't just suck all the air out of the room. He doesn't take all the time to answer questions. He just kind of answers the questions as they're asked to him, and he doesn't go on attacks on people. He doesn't do the things that over the course of a 2-hour debate add those seconds here and there to give you that boosted up speaking time. Really, when spoken to, he gives a pretty good answer. That's his style. It's just for this TV show where everyone's fighting for airtime, you don't quite have, your style is going to trend you towards the bottom of the list. That's what I say. Can I make a World War II reference in Cardin's absence? Not really, no, unfortunately. Nothing comes to mind. I guess I can do a shout out to, I don't know. Well, I can't think of any good World War II shout outs. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got nothing. How about this interesting tidbit? I'm sure a lot of you guys know this already, but it kind of blew my mind. I didn't know this for a while. You know what? This meme, I'll admit, this meme was primarily getting passed around in right-wing circles. However, dude, I have to admit, it did kind of like, when I saw the picture, I was like, oh my God, dude, where is, I gotta find it. And it's because it's just true. Like, the reason why it stuck out to me so much is I'm like, oh my God, that's right. and this is a good way to kind of phrase how I view impeachment to go over as far as what people are going to feel about nationally. Can I just not find this picture now? It's a picture of the people who actually are behind or who they are announcing the official impeachment. And where is it? And it was just it said more than I ever could, which is the reason why I'm wasting time trying to pull it up. I apologize, but it kind of spoke to how I felt about this and how I think it's going to go over better than anything else. Where is it? I guess this could be a better way of doing it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure some of you guys know better than I do, but I've been told that is this the one? Yeah, I've been told that all of these representatives are from either California or New York. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told the people that actually officially announced the articles of impeachment were representatives from California and New York exclusively. And that is kind of how I think about this impeachment hearing. I could be wrong. Correct me. But I know he's from California. I know she's from California. And I know she's from California. And I think... So, yeah. I mean, it's just... That is what I think about it. Yes. Urban centers, people in New York City and LA, gonna love this, man. The rest of the country, who has none of their representatives getting stage time on this so much, who don't care as much, I do not know how it's going to play with them. It's going to play great. Going to play great with California and New York, man. NYC, LA, SF, ooh, they are going to love this. The rest of the country, I don't think so. And I think that's one of the reasons why you'll see when, by the way, do you know how important it is to these people, these politicians? Well, a little aside, my brother played football. High school, but he's pretty good. He probably could have played in the like college level, right? But anyway, don't ever for 1 second think that athletes are not very aware of how they look. And if you ever see an athlete, like, why are they wearing... One of my favorite things is like when I watch football with people who are in the... Like, why do they have all those towels and stuff? Well, technically, it's so if it's wet out, you can keep your hands dry in the towel. Sometimes you'll see quarterbacks, they'll have hand warmers. But the answer 95% of the time is, it looks cool. Like, it's a real thing, especially in football. You see it more in football than anything else. Reason why I bring it up, and the same thing goes to politicians, man. Politicians, though, they're all just reps, DNR reps, right? So it really matters to get this in. Think about it. All these people in their heads are thinking 100 years from now, when people read about impeachment in textbooks, this will be the picture, and I'm in it. That's what drives me crazy about this stuff, man. Bunch of vain people from California and New York getting their TV time is what I see with impeachment. And I think it's starting to bother people. I think there's people in the middle of the country and even on the coast who are just starting to go like, I am so tired of these elected representatives from California and New York just wasting our time on this. And I think that's going to be what we see. Again, these vain losers think, oh, I'm going to be in textbooks for hundreds of years. It's not what voters think, man. There's some people who are probably so happy, but your average human being, I mean, there's the classic SpongeBob, the SpongeBob gif. I'll bring it up. The reason why this image hits so close to home with people, and the reason why when people see this, it kind of like means something to them, part of it, admittedly, part of the meaning comes from the fact that we saw this originally as, many of us as children, so it means something to us. But there's a reason why. I'll show you guys a second. I'm pulling it up. There's a reason why this image right here means something to people. And when they see it, it resonates, and they know what it means. There doesn't need to be any words, right? Hold on. Everyone knows what this is. Everyone knows what this means. No audio, it's no spoken word, but we all know the message is getting across, right? Dude, what do you think your average voter's day looks like? If we acknowledge that this is your average person, how come when it comes to when we're talking about voters, we just pretend that this isn't the case anymore? No, your average voter is this weird person I created in my head. No, your average voter probably wakes up early to get to work. They commute to work. It takes a while. They work. They commute home. It takes a while. Then they get home and they have just enough time to go to sleep and do it again. Like, the reason why this resonates is because a lot of us either are currently in this cycle or have been in it before. Dude, that's most voters, man. Do you think that guy is just going home thinking about Ukraine and the president and phone calls and bribery? He's probably thinking more about his bills and his health care. So that's why I think impeachment's failing, man. It's because how do you get that guy to care about it? Like I always say, impeachment isn't about legal ground. You have to convince the public it's a good thing. Because here's the thing. If the 60 whatever million people that voted for Trump feel that he was removed wrongly, even if he wasn't, technically, you have a problem. So it isn't about proving to the courts you're allowed to do it. It's about proving to the public it should be done. Otherwise, we're going to have problems. So again, until the Democrats can figure out how to get this guy to care about what's going on in D.C. and Russia and Ukraine and blah, blah, blah. And until they can figure out how to get across to this guy instead of maybe saying, I want to make sure you make more money so you can take care of your family better. I want to give you more money so you're not trapped in this cycle. Because here's the thing about this guy. This guy knows, this fictional fish man, he knows you impeach Trump and he gets President Pence. Let's say the dream happens. By the way, Robert Lee, $5 super chat. Yang Gang, keep it up. Thank you very much. Let's say the dream happens and President Pelosi. Does this guy really think President Pelosi changes his life for him realistically? Or is this the life he's going to have under President Pence, President Pelosi, and President Trump? I don't know. I went long on this whole thing, but that's just what I have to say about the impeachment hearing. How do you convince this guy he needs to impeach the president? Like I said, you can convince the courts all you want. You don't convince these people, it's a loss. It's a loss if you don't convince the people. So don't worry about convincing courts and other representatives, lawmakers. It's not about them. It's about the people who actually voted for the guys. I don't know, man. I'm going to wrap up. I like to go off on a kind of round number, so we'll go another 7 minutes. I think that is the my leg guy. But I don't know, man. Again, if any of you guys could pitch to me what would make Mr. Fishman here stuck in his 9 to 5, basically trapped in a car, trapped in your house, trapped in a cubicle, what would make him say, you know what? We got to impeach the president. I'm so passionate about this. We got to get it done. Like, he doesn't care, dude. Like, how many people on this chat? Like, put a 1 in chat if your life is essentially you wake up to have enough time to get to work, and then you get home with just enough time to get ready to go to sleep and go to work again. It's a lot of people, dude. And they are not interested in your Washington D.C. Capitol Hill drama. They don't care at all. And they're like, "Oh, my healthcare sucks." What on TV? What are they talking about on TV about healthcare? Oh, nothing. They just don't really bring it up. Or everyone says they support Medicare for all, but they don't really explain what it means because everyone's Medicare for all is different. It's just, yeah. I don't know. So that like I said, I'm going to wrap up there, but there's such, the political class just take what your average person's life is like for granted so much, and you could just hear it in their voice, man. You can just hear it in the way they talk about people. It's like they take the average human experience in this country for granted 100%. They just like act like it's like weird. Like, dude, just today, I had to go to Los Angeles, and I had to go to a government building in Los Angeles, and I had to leave the government building and leave Los Angeles. And dude, people were just angry and miserable. It was not a pleasant experience in the least. I guarantee you all those people were more concerned with whatever was pissing them off than they were about a phone call that our president had with another president. They're just like, dude, what? What, man? I just found out that I have to pay this bill. I just found out my kid did this. And you're going to come to me and tell me I don't get it. Because by the way, remember when I say this a lot, undefeated in elections in the last like 50 years is didn't vote. Didn't vote's undefeated. Nobody can beat didn't vote in an election. Every year, didn't vote sweeps the field. So you're going to motivate all those people against the president they didn't vote for in the first place? Like, imagine going up to someone who's like, I didn't really vote in 16. You didn't vote in 16? Nah, why not? Nah, I got a lot of stuff going on, man. Like, whoever wins, I got to deal with my own issues, right? And imagine that person is saying, well, you don't get it. Now we have to impeach that president. That election you were so indifferent to, you actually didn't bother to show up and vote for. You now have to be up in arms about the results of that election and actively fight with us to overturn the results. So I'm going to be, dude, I didn't care then. I'm going to care now. Like, go pound sand, dude. There's a reason why I didn't care in 16. Like, I don't care now either. I mean, this happens to me a lot. where people will talk to me and they'll just be like, yeah, like I don't like politicians, and they'll like and I try to consistently maintain I don't like politicians, right? And it's hilarious that there's so many people that are like on board with me, but then I'll bring up how I don't like a certain politician and they go, whoa, hold on, like that one's important. They're the good one. And I'm like, dude, you don't like. That's how the people who just look at Trump and Hillary with complete disdain and said they're both crooks. Better way of putting it, there is way more people in this country whose opinion of both Hillary and Trump is they're both crooks that belong in jail. Just saying, like you're going to go to them and say, you don't get it. Trump's a crook and he belongs in jail. And people are going to be like, yeah, I know, dude. They all are crooks and they all belong in jail. Like I'm not going to just all of a sudden be on your side to get them. Like there's people that are just like, they all should be in prison forever. We should put them all on a rocket ship and shoot them to the moon. And there's the problem. I think that rocket ship should have Donald Trump in it. Definitely should have Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. Put Mike Pence in there if you want. Right? They all should be in the rocket ship. So I'm not going to back these people against their opponent. I don't like any of them. They all belong in jail. So that is an opinion more people hold than I think. I mean, I think it's evident in the fact that people just by and large aren't really voting. Most people don't vote. Like voting is decreasing. Not exclusively. It's kind of, but you know what I mean. The voting in this country is not a whole lot of enthusiasm behind it. I think it's because a lot of people are at the point of, I don't like any of these people. They're all crooks. They all belong in prison. And that's why when someone says, you don't get it, so-and-so belongs in jail, people just kind of look at people and go like, dude, what? They all belong in jail. I'm not going to suddenly join your side because, oh, we're going to put one in jail. I don't want to put one in jail. Put all of them. They're all crooks. All scammers. I don't know. So it's just that, like, it's just that is what annoys me about impeachment so much, is that there's a lot of people who are indifferent and they're suddenly supposed to care about one perspective narrative. It's like, dude, I didn't care then. I didn't like them then. I maintained my same stance. I'm not going to suddenly join your side. Like, what? And that's what we're running into, man. That's what I keep seeing, right? I keep seeing every time there's a bombshell in the impeachment hearing, there's three perspectives. This is actually good for Trump. This is actually bad for Trump. Or I don't care. Can you please stop it? And I don't care. Can you please stop what's going? Did I ever stop promoting things that they're just philosophically dumb? No. No, I don't think that your people are dumb for not liking politicians, man. I personally don't think that. Like I don't think that I definitely don't think that there is a direct right or wrong in this. I think a bunch of shady people are doing illegal things all the time and just picking a point to start punishing people. No, man. No. Either people actually stand for what they do or they don't. I'm not just going to pick one person, whether I like them or not, and say they have to be held responsible. None of you do. Here's the thing. If it goes through, then everyone else who's corrupt is all of a sudden just, they get away free. So they're not responsible. And here we go. 6:25. So like I said, guys, this is going to wrap up here. So we're going to, that's so yeah, anyways, I don't know. So we're going to wrap up here. I apologize. I talked way too much about topics that I didn't plan on talking about. We talked too much about Bloomberg, too much about impeachment. I don't know. I just been reading. I think I just been reading a lot about Bloomberg and impeachment, and it's just been kind of driving me crazy. So I don't know. Unfortunately, I wasted your guys' time with it. I apologize, but yeah, Bush from Harold and Kumar said it best. I don't even trust the government, and I'm in the. My point exactly, man. It's like I trust the people making the accusations against Trump as little as I trust him. So where do we go? Yeah, exactly. People think you can just go on TV and stuff. So there we go. There's that. Any last final questions before I wrap up? I look at fives as even numbers. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. Fives are even numbers to me. Bloomberg. That's a great comment here. Hillary made my parents and PA vote for Trump after voting twice for Obama. Dude, a lot of voters like that, man. A lot of voters like that, man. A lot of voters. Am I coming to the next Vegas event thing? I'm trying to, yes. It's like in a week. I'm trying to, yeah. I probably should. I mean, like, I'm planning on it, yeah. Oh, dude, it's almost commendable. I'll say a question. Almost commendable how the DNC tried to just brush under the rug 2016. It's almost commendable. They try to just pretend that Debbie Wasserman Schultz did not resign in shame. They just pretended there wasn't a class action lawsuit against the DNC for rigging the primary. They just pretended all this never happened and moved on. I'll give them props for that. It ain't working, man. People remember. So, it's not working, but hey, give them props. I haven't commented fully on the Alyssa Milano thing yet. I'm still working on details for the Alyssa Milano thing. I guess it broke while I was streaming. I don't know all the details. If someone can give me or point me in the direction of what actually happened, I'd be willing to comment more. I don't know what happened. Listen, I appreciate probably for thinking, but I think the non-voters are very stubborn perfectionists. Dude, like I said, sure, it's a point. My larger point is I think a lot of the non-voters just view government as failing them and have just kind of given up on government. So, government fails me always. I'm not going to put my faith in them, put my faith in me. I think that's the larger thing. I think there's people who just sit and say, I don't care who wins, my life will be the same. And they don't vote because of it. When did Hillary become the devil? Serious question. It's a good question, man. I'll leave you guys with this in reference to Hillary Clinton. There's a really fascinating interview with Tupac Shakur. It's from prison. For those of you guys who don't remember, Tupac went to prison for probably something he shouldn't have gone to prison with. I'm not going to litigate it. Anyway, while he was in prison, look at the Simona thing. While he was in prison, someone interviewed him, and they were asking him just general questions about a lot of things, right? How do you feel about how it went down? Shortly before he got into prison, he had been shot. Now, the interviewer asked Tupac, and it stood out to me. And they said, well, Tupac, what went through your head when you got shot? What were you thinking? And he said, the first thing that went through my head was that I can't believe my own people shot me. He's like, I'm out here doing all this stuff to represent these people, and they shot me. It's like everything I did was nothing. And because he felt that way, Tupac, the last few years of his life, was a very different individual than he was at the beginning. One thing I wonder, did Hillary Clinton have that moment where she was in government and she was more or less, a politician, pretty corrupt, but she was in government and something happened where she just been like, I cannot believe this. I've given X for Y and this is what they've given me. Because I think that is what gets people to snap more than anything. I gave up this for this thing, and that thing betrayed me. I think is so because like I said, that seemed to be the message I got from Tupac. Tupac was like, look, I'm trying to represent my community and speak for my community and show people that the messaging out there isn't all true. And then they turned around and shot me, and I can't get over that. So I think maybe Hillary did the same thing. I'm not sure. I'd have to look, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hillary had something similar happen in her career where it was just kind of like, I'm done. I cannot stand by and let this happen anymore. Yeah, dude, Hillary's a beast now, man. Hillary's a beast. I said, I can't stand the woman, but I have to give her props. Absolute political beast, man. She will take you down if she had the Capitol. So there we go. I went way longer than I wanted to go, and 30 is a round number. So I'm going to wrap up here, guys. I appreciate all you guys very much for hanging out with me. I've always have a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Really do. Thank you for everyone who super chatted. Seriously, appreciate it a lot. If you guys if you want to give this video a like, give the channel a sub, even though if you're in the stream, you probably have already. And I think Amy will be out soon. Don't worry. I do not think Amy is going to be around for too much longer. She's just got nothing. So I don't know why she's in the race now. No offense, Daniel, but I truly and sadly believe they are educated poorly is a very interesting statement to me, man. It's a very interesting statement to me, man. I do not fully understand what that means. Again, no flame, no offense. It's a very interesting statement. So anyway, guys, I got to go. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'll be seeing you guys with Cardin in the next day or so. So please take care, everyone.